spiritual formation is one of those things that I think is essential, even in the lives of little ones. My little guys don't try to eat without praying because they will stop you. And don't try to pray right now without folding your hands because they'll say, no, that's not the right way to pray. I'm working with them on grace and understanding that everyone else has their own ways of praying. But I really hope that what they get is something that they can carry with them their entire life, that helps them view and approach and deal with not just the challenges, but find ways to recognize what God has done for them and their joys.
I think that spiritual formation is super important for kids because I find it super important that kids grow up and that they learn to love Jesus.
To help kids understand that they're surrounded by God, as they're surrounded by mom and dad or other significant people that love them. They're never alone. And then as a kid gets older, to realize that they're made in the image of God. And in that image of God, again, not too much of a stretch, but that image is love. And so when they experience love, when they give love, they're being themselves in the fullest form possible.
I think sometimes faith can be really, really complicated until you talk to a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, and they just have this simple understanding. God is, and they go from there.
I just find God and faith to be really so central to my life, not necessarily a specific church community, but that inner knowledge that God is inside, God is all around me, in nature, all things. So I always, from a young age, have taken the kids out on walks with me and just, we're very intentional saying, stop, listen, what do you hear? You know, and now they'll go outside and talk to the birds and things, which is really fun. But just pointing out those things of like, look at what a cool world we have. Look at what God created. Look at that cool, deer that's running through our yard that our dog is barking at. We could look at it and say it's a super inconvenience and be quiet, please, dog, which I have said. But a lot of times we'll look out the window and we'll just go, wow, that's so beautiful. Thanks for showing that to us today.
A really important thing to know about faith is that they are loved by God. And a way that that is expressed is by the love that they receive from their caregivers. So little songs while they're getting changed or getting dressed or reading Bible stories or having opportunities to talk about, oh, do you see the flower? God made the flower. Bringing in some of those really early faith language pieces is helpful for little ones. And they remember by repetition and song and finger plays. So those are really great ways to incorporate faith into everyday things of life.
They understand blessings and they understand hope. Dad, here's what I'm praying for. And here's what I'm hoping God does. Now, the prayer may be that they get a unicorn for their birthday the next year, but there is still this approach to, I know that I have a God that I can feel comfortable with, celebrating all of the blessings because they just understand that God is and all that's good in life has come from God. I think that that's a great place to start that conversation, and I'm learning that I need to keep that in my heart from them.
We talk about God is love and how we treat one another. That's the first thing we say in the morning, and the last thing we say before they go to bed is, I love you. We say I love you to each other. God loves you.
What's one thing that I can do today so that my child knows that they are loved by God,
themselves,
by our community,
and others, and Jesus, and how to put all of those things together, like how we can go out into the community and do things to help people, and how we can be a good friend and help each other when we're sitting down and somebody's having a hard time.
By far, the most important thing is that God is love.
This is a production of Central Church, Traverse City. in conjunction with the Northern Waters District and the Michigan Conference of the United Methodist Church. Share widely. You have our permission.